Blog Talk Radio.
Various shots that people are getting now cover that. You're okay. You're not gonna get COVID if you have these vaccinations.
Somebody gotta do it. Hey, let's go, Brandon. I keep a drum like I'm Nick Cannon. Hey, let's go, Brandon. Pandemic ain't real, they just planted. Hey, let's go, Brandon. When you ask questions, they start banning. Hey, let's go, Brandon. Hey, let's go, Brandon. Hey, let's go, Brandon. I keep a drum like I'm Nick Cannon. Hey, let's go, Brandon. Pandemic ain't real, they just planted. Hey, let's go, Brandon. You ask questions, they start banning. Hey, let's go, Brandon. Let's go, Brandon. Hey, Biden said the just about to spread, it was lies. I remember how you roll, but you haven't opened your eyes. These politicians are demons just in disguise. Look at Kyrie Irving and Nicki Minaj. Look at Australia, that's what's coming next if we don't stand up. Stop complying with them, taking our rights, it's time to man up. Republicans voting for red back laws, that's just what I can't trust. If you ask what's about the vax, then they gonna ban us. Hey, this is about control, everybody knows, everyone complies. We're the kinds of pros, I don't need a plane.
Well. Welcome to the Dr. C. Robert Jones Situation Report with me, your host, Dr. C. Robert Jones. All right, so it appears that today's show is going to be a short broadcast, and the reason for that is that I failed to notice that I only set the show's airtime for 15 minutes instead of my usual hour. So this one's going to be short, folks, but we're going to get right down to it. You're listening to C. Robert Jones. What is today's date? This is not starting off right, but it's going to be great. Today's date is June 28th, 2022, United States of America, planet Earth, third planet from the sun. All right. So since we're short on time, due to my inability to pay attention to setting up my own broadcasting. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the first time this ever happened to me. It is absolutely the first time it's ever happened. So we're going to do like a really quick abbreviated broadcast, but it's going to be fun. So check it out. The first thing I'd like to talk about, probably the only thing I'm going to get a chance to talk about tonight, is the sex strike. I don't know. I'm going to read what this is all about from an article. It's called The History of Sex Strikes. Withholding sex as a form of protest has a long history, but are sex strikes effective? And it's written by a gentleman by the name of Harvey Day. He wrote it 16 May 2019. Sex strikes, a form of protest where a group of people, usually women, withhold sex to achieve a particular goal. They've been a fixture in the public imagination ever since the time of the ancient Greeks. And they're being debated around the world again this week after calls from U.S. actress and Me Too activist Alyssa Milano, one angry woman, I'll tell you that. I had a big crush on her, even though she's like a lot younger than me when she was on Charmed, but, you know, it's kind of like it was kind of creepy because I'm a lot older than she is. But nevertheless, she is a nut job and a very angry woman. And a lot of you know that from a lot of her political activism. And she's going at it again. This time she wants women to stop having sex with their male partners to protect against a strict new abortion law in the state of Georgia. And she wrote, "Join me by not having sex until we get bodily autonomy back." The Charmed actress said this on Twitter. She then wrote more. "Until women have legal control over their own bodies, we just cannot risk pregnancy." Correct me if I'm wrong. Aren't there protections against pregnancy? There's your standard garden variety condom. There's those implants that go into women's armpits, and there's a whole bunch of other things. So what is she really saying here? It doesn't really make a lot of sense. And quite frankly, there are women all over America the last couple of days who have advocating not having sex, going on a strike. And the hysterical part of this whole thing is that a lot of these women are just plain unattractive. Now, I just don't. I mean, you see some of the women, and they're holding up signs of the most grotesque utterances, and in addition to that, they're wearing something over their heads that look like a vagina, and yeah. So they're wearing something over their head that looks a lot like a vagina, and and they're braless. They're really overweight. Now, it's entirely possible that those types of women are like really good in the sack. It's possible. Maybe because of their appearance, and maybe they try harder. I don't know. It could be a lot of things, but I just want to say that when you have a group of women who are so utterly unattractive, parading around in Washington, D.C. and other cities, even where I am at this moment in Macon, Georgia, we had a demonstration out on Cherry and 2nd Street. And when those ladies, and I'm being generous here, when those ladies walked by, oh my God, I'll tell you this, I didn't see a single attractive lady in the bunch. Not one. None of the beautiful ladies were marching around, holding up signs and stating that they're going to withhold sex from their guys. Not a single attractive lady was part of that group. I mean, they can't. I do mean that. But not a single one of those ladies was attractive at all. What is going on? And frankly, is a woman really required to have sex? Some of us have been having sex without women since we were 9 or 10.
Bluetooth disconnected.
So
Bluetooth connected.
There is that. All right. So we're moving on since we've only got about 6 minutes left. Yeah. Let's talk about insurrections. Because it's only insurrection when the other side does it. Isn't that true? For 1.5 years, the left and its media allies have peddled the narrative of a Republican insurrection. January 6th, Donald Trump, January 6th. Meanwhile, Democrats and their supporters burned federal courthouses, attacked property rights, and, of course, the rule of law. And they now call the Supreme Court illegitimate after its ruling on Dobbs versus Jackson. Now, why don't they call the other branch of Congress illegitimate when they do stupid shit? They don't, do they? No, they do not. What about the executive branch with their misinformation deal they had going on? They tried to pull the wool over on our eyes with that crap. What happened then? So the Supreme Court, the most noble body in my mind, part of the 3 equal but separate branches of government, how are they illegitimate? What they have done, folks, is they've taken this issue off their plate and put it back on the plates of the American people, where it should have been all along. Now, each state will have the privilege of voting up or down, yay or nay. This is what our country is all about. Democracy, the republic, voting. Each man gets a vote. One man, one vote. One woman, one vote. One LBGGEFGQ, one vote. Whatever. So let's let this party play out the way it's supposed to. But Democrats don't want that. No, because Democrats think that we're all too stupid. We're not smart enough to go out and cast our vote. And in fact, if we don't cast our vote the way they think we should, then we're either racist or just plain stupid, misogynistic, whatever. You see, the Democrats are afraid of an up or down vote by the American people. They're afraid because they believe that we're not going to make the choices they want us to make. They don't want us to choose. They want to choose for us. And it's just not going to work out that way. Now, what is an insurrection? An insurrection is a violent uprising against legal authority. Nothing more. Oh, well, there's more to it, with the intent to overthrow it. Of course, liberals won't openly admit that what they advocate is insurrection, but that is, in essence, what the left is advocating. And they're doing it every day. A most beautiful Catholic church in Tennessee the other day was burned down to the ground. Arson was at play. What would have happened were there people inside that church? Suppose the janitor had fallen asleep in the back and just said, I'm going to just hang out here for the night and go home in the morning. Maybe he had a little too much to drink. Who knows? What if that were the case? These are Democrats, liberals, burning down churches, defacing property, defacing churches. For God's sake. What a mess. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I have less than 90 seconds due to my own ineptitude. And so, with that, I'm going to pick this up again tomorrow. So stay tuned. I'll be back on air tomorrow night, 8 to 9 p.m. Until then, thank you for listening and have a wonderful evening. You've been listening to the Dr. Situation Report. Good night.